Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there.
Hello.
And that is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I am Kelly. Hey, gang, we lost a Titan. Roger Corman
Yes.
has passed, and I was just thinking, this guy was like maybe one of the most important people in independent cinema.
Absolutely.
I mean, changed the way the industry worked.
Yeah. And not once, but time and time again. Every time technology changed, he was never left behind.
Mm.
He always figured out how to make his stuff work.
Yeah.
I
And
had no idea he passed.
Oh, really?
That's
He's
terrible
what was he,
news.
90?
92.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew like every time I'd see him make an appearance, I was like, man, that guy is old and sprightly. Like
He was still working.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got movies that'll have his credit on it for another year.
Wow.
So-
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was really sad. We got to meet him very, very briefly at the Lovecraft Film Festival, so that was kind of neat. And he was just one of those guys who he spoke like this very calmly and quietly and was really polite and just a really neat guy. And I was thinking about, how many careers he started. We were just talking about Joe Dante and
Dante,
everything.
Mm.
And Jack Nicholson and, so many
Ron
people.
Howard.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And then what was it? This happens too. I fucking hate this. This happened
Oh.
with Stan Lee too. Somebody passes away and then everybody is saying, this is really sad, except for one person who's got to come on there and go, oh, Stan Lee was a real fucking prick. And we're like, well, I bet you he could be. Maybe we don't do that on the day he died.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody posted a credit that guy had on a Roger Corman movie. So it's not like Roger Corman never picked up his scripts. He actually apparently made
Oh, that guy
a
that
Corman
posted, how
Yeah.
how shitty he
And
was.
also, we don't need to mention it, doesn't matter, but he had a successful career.
Hmm.
So you said, chill out. I'm sorry he didn't pick up 2 of your movies that went on to be made by other people.
Right.
Mm.
But that Roger Corman's influence on film and the way film is presented and producing on a budget, it's what was his book? How I Made 1,000 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime.
Right. Something like that. Yeah.
And I actually believe that because the way he made films, he didn't make so many giant movies now. Well, for a long time, are made on somebody's budget's ego.
Mhm.
It's like, I made my movie for $250 million. Like, did you really need $250 million to make your movie?
Yeah.
Or did you just want to outdo Disney by $10 million or some shit like that? I mean, and he never did that. I'm sure he had a hell of an ego. I don't know. I didn't know him personally.
Right.
He might have, but he didn't make his movies based on, if this sucks, my ego gets bruised.
Right. I don't think you can have that much of an ego if you're making some of the crap movies he made too.
Yes.
He was all about just let's get this done and everything.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that movie that I talked about I guess last year, Targets?
Oh,
That
yeah.
turned out to be, it was Peter Bogdanovich, but it was a Roger Corman production.
Yeah.
And the way he gave him the money to do that was, here's whatever, $200,000, but there's 2 caveats. You have to hire Boris Karloff and you have to use footage from this other film that I've already shot. And then he made that really incredible movie. I don't know if you turned around and watched that.
Oh,
but it
no,
was,
that's a great film.
yeah, it is
That's a
so good.
Criterion release. It is really, really a great movie.
Yeah, that's Targets I'm talking about.
Yes, not Target, the
Right.
store. Targets.
Or Target, the Oliver Reed movie, which is also very good.
Oh, yeah.
And had, what's his name that was at Crypticon and didn't do well?
Oh, the guy from
Stephen-
Pontypool?
Yeah, Stephen McCaddy.
Yeah. He was a really quiet guy.
Yeah.
He really is either shy or just lives in his own world. He seemed very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, well. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
Also, I saw some movies, you guys.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to ride some kind of spider wave that's going through Hollywood. I'm
Oh, another.
right here on the cusp, and I just watched a movie called Sting.
Oh yeah, I saw I thought that was going to be the next like arachnophobia movie, and somebody had to break it to me that was not in fact what this movie was.
No, and it's okay if what you're looking for is a kind of schlocky 80s horror film.
Mm.
It is that kind of movie. The lead is a 12-year-old girl, and she is fantastic. She's
Ooh.
such a good actor. It's just like, wow, where do they find this chick? But she basically finds this weird spider, and right off the bat, we know what it is. It's basically a meteor comes shooting, and then by the time it hits Earth, it's about this big, the size of a pebble, and it lands in her apartment complex, and then she catches it, and it starts growing, and it's very, very alien and venomous and all of this stuff, and it is fun, but not great.
It's a
Interesting.
spider though, and it's called Sting.
Okay, so now here's my thing. I was like, why would you call this Sting?
Yeah.
But, and then I really got angry because she looks up on her bookshelf and there's The Hobbit. And she says, I know what I'm going to call you. And I'm
Oh,
like, yeah,
jeez.
you're going to call her Shelob, right? The spider from
Oh
The Hobbit.
no.
No, she calls her Sting based on,
The sword.
yeah,
Oh no.
Bilbo's sword, Sting.
Okay.
Oh dear. What a
Weird.
choice to make.
Yeah, it really
my
pissed
God.
me off. Anyway, Sting is available as a rental. The effects are pretty good.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good, cool spider movie.
I'll add it to my 100.
Oh,
movie thing
100.
there.
Right.
Well, I saw Ghostbusters Fallen Empire
Okay.
at
Okay.
long last. I think it's not as bad as how people have been saying, but it's not good. It's, like it's a completely fine.
Frozen Empire.
Yes. Oh, sorry. What did I say? Fallen, Frozen Empire. It's a completely fine film. Things happen. It's fun, and I love watching, a city get covered in ice. The only bummer is there's the big bad in it that shows up is like, I'm here to get my revenge and no one shall survive. And you get to see like they talked about how all these people are going to get frozen and how they're going to die horrifically. Nobody dies. Nobody
I mean, it's
dies.
Ghostbusters,
But
I half
nobody.
expected you to say chew bubble gum and kick ass when you said, I have come here to.
That would have been better. I mean, at least that would have been closer to being accurate. I was just like, this guy, he's got no teeth to him because all this like destruction and horrible things that are supposedly going to happen just conveniently don't actually hurt anybody. So
Weird.
yeah,
I pretty much hated this movie.
yeah.
I thought it was really bad, actually. I was like, why is this storyline with Finn Wolfhard so far removed from the rest of the team? Why is he up there with Slimer while the rest of the team is dealing with all this other stuff? And I was like, oh, well, it's clear why. They had him for 7 days or something. And
Yeah.
they couldn't do what they wanted with his character.
Oh, interesting. I just was
And
like,
they-
oh, it's more the girl's story now.
Which
And
I was fine with, but there's all sorts of better ways to write that story to
Yeah.
at least put them into the position they are. Like, why is the girl that Finn's in love with from back east or Midwest or wherever they were,
yeah,
why is she now also working for somebody over in New York?
right.
And I'm like,
right,
but the reason they give is that she's interning for something.
right.
And I was like, why are you guys making this so fucking difficult? This story doesn't have to be this complicated. There's 15 fucking Ghostbusters now. They're all kids mostly, and you're like, okay, and that's part of the thing. She's not allowed to be on the team because she's a minor,
Mhm.
and so you get her storyline, which I was like, okay, this is the story we should be following. All this
Yeah.
other stuff is bullshit.
I honestly, I hadn't seen the other movie in a while, so I kind of forgot who those people were and why they were there.
Well, that is also a problem,
Are
right?
they new characters? I don't know. I just was like, oh, they're in a lab. I don't know.
Heavy impact from the first movie there for you.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't a fan of the little marshmallow guys coming back. I was like, I don't know who was in love with these in the first
Well,
place, but
what they were in love with was the internet social media hit they got from that scene with Paul and the little marshmallows in the restaurant or in the supermarket making a big.
in the
Everybody
Walmart.
posted and talked about that scene.
Oh.
So it's like, well, let's try to do this again.
Oh my God. I was like, why are you here? Like, why would anyone keep, like, I kept one and now look what's happened. I'm like, why did you keep one? You knew what happened last time. I don't understand.
Also, it's so weird. Everybody's saying how they've really captured the feel of the 80s. Those first two movies were made for adults. They
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have kids in them. What this has captured is that Goonies feel from the 80s, which
Oh,
they have
yeah.
turned Ghostbusters into now.
hmm
And I was never a huge Ghostbusters guy anyway, so I don't really care. But I'm also like, I don't know. There's a way to tell a story, and I feel like these people who are making $1 million to write a story should fucking know how to do it then.
Do we know if this movie ended up, like, making any money or was
It
it?
made the same amount as the last movie did,
Mhm.
but it cost $40 million more than the last movie.
Ooh,
So
Woof.
I think what they're realizing, or they're going to have to realize, is we have a set audience for this film, and it is
Yeah.
probably the adults who liked the old films,
Yeah.
and it's not going to grow because the movies just aren't that good.
Yeah, I just would like to go to the theater and not have the option of getting a Slimer popcorn bucket. It's just, like they're just everywhere and nobody buys
Yes,
them.
but did you
They're
get the
just
Dune popcorn
no,
bucket?
those were gone. Those were gone. But I could get a Garfield popcorn bucket.
Oh,
That's
there
how I
you
know a
go.
Garfield movie is coming because I was like,
Yes.
I guess Garfield's on his way. So yeah, I felt like it was okay. It was watchable, and there was I liked the story of the girl and the ghost, and there was a lot of lesbian tension going on. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but
I'm sure it was on purpose, but since she was a minor, they probably had to tone it way down.
yeah, there was very like, much no interaction. They don't kiss. They don't. I don't remember if they even hold hands. I think there was like oh, I'm a ghost too now. But okay, I don't know why. Why did you become a ghost?
Let's go find Casper.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember. I thought it was still. I think they're all still better than that female Ghostbusters movie, which was just insulting. I felt like didn't matter that it was women or men or anybody. It was just so poorly written and
was
so
bad.
poorly crafted and with such ill intention that it just yeah. So it's not going to be that
Alrighty.
bad. At least they tried. So
I appreciate you coming out and saying that. There was so much virtue signaling coming on when that female Ghostbusters movie came on. Everybody's saying this is a really fucking great movie. And I was like, this is not a
no.
great movie, and you're hurting your cause when you make us pretend that these are great movies.
Yeah, no, it was poor storytelling. I mean, I also still cringe whenever I watch The Avengers, and the women get together in that second movie battling Thanos, is it Endgame?
Okay, well, I kind of liked that
I
shot.
was gonna say, I didn't have a problem with that.
I don't know. There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, do we have to?" Like, it's just, I don't know. If it happens naturally, that's one thing. But if it's so unnatural that you're like, I didn't see these characters here before. I don't know why you're here. Why do you know each other? How are I mean, it's fine, but for me, it just felt very like I'd rather it just happen because like it makes sense in the story rather than like we're gonna shoehorn it in so we can get some applause.
Once you get a group of that size together,
hmm
it's hard to naturally create little moments that don't feel somewhat contrived.
Yeah.
But
Like,
why is like
why
Pepper
does
there?
this guy have to be with this guy at that time, and why does this? That's just
It's just I don't
big group dynamic. Shit happens.
It's
Yeah.
fine. I'm probably the only one who found that irritating, but there is something about now I'm just so aware of these things that whenever it happens, like that's I do kind of love in what's the Amazon superhero
Boys.
boys. Like
Oh.
whenever they do the girls get it done, like it's just so tongue in cheek, like yes, it's that thing over and over and over again. So
Boys is full of that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Pick your poison.
Who would have thought Vanessa would be the one shitting on women this episode?
I'm not
This is-
shitting on women.
This is usually my beat.
I'm shitting on people profiting off of the concept that women are strong by fake making them strong. That's what I'm shitting on.
Isn't that what movies are? Fake making everybody something or
Oh
else.
my God. How are you taking this argument right now? How?
I don't know. Just being a dick
This is, yeah.
for no
You're
reason.
just poking the bear, man. Jeez
Yeah,
Louise.
it's movies. That's, I think, my end game is always it's movies. We
That's
take far too much. Too many people live their lives thinking they're going to be Rambo. Rambo's not real. Rambo probably would have been destroyed.
Wait a second, what?
But if Rambo
But-
turns towards the camera with a can of Pepsi and clicks it open and goes, refreshing, that's a lot different than Rambo being Rambo, right? Like, we got to agree that there's a difference between selling something with a bad heart and bad mind.
Get this straight. Rambo's not real.
That's right. Yes. Sorry. You're not going to buy an M60 and become Rambo.
Oh
Sorry.
my God.
Anyways, so
Anyway, it's somebody else
switching from
talk.
giant budgets,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about, over the next two films, I'm going to talk about two of the movies from Crypticon Seattle this year. So there are a couple really outstanding films with
Ooh.
all respect to Calvin and Joe. I love you guys. You do great stuff, but your stuff gets a lot of distribution. You're there. These are a couple that, damn. One is called Winter Island,
Oh, yeah. Winter Island.
which was shot in Fife, Washington.
Was it really Fife?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Uh, directed by Tony Dupuy. Wait, I hope I got that right. When there's a young girl found dead on a small wooden island. Her brothers starts to have postmortem visions of her and evil presences within their own family. It's incredibly well shot.
Mm.
It is really well acted. It is one of the top production horror films I've seen shot in Washington,
Yeah.
which with an entirely Washington-based
Has
group.
some great shot choices in there. It's just a beautiful movie throughout.
And Dan Gildark
Gildark,
is
yeah.
involved with it.
Of course.
Yeah. Religious zealotry, family drama come together in what is a really dark film in a lot of ways. It did win the Crypticon Seattle Best Film this year.
Oh, awesome.
And I hope it gets distribution. I'm sure it will. At the very least, to the level of Dan's film Cthulhu. It should get along those words. It seems like something Shudder would pick up because they're just steeped in family drama the last couple of years, especially last year. So hopefully it'll get picked up. And if you get a chance, check out Winter Island because it's really an interesting film.
Man, that's cool. I'm sorry I missed that. Okay, I also saw Abigail.
Oh,
okay.
how was that?
Frustrating.
Oh, no.
It's not a great movie, but it's got some cool moments in it. And I have to wonder, now there's just no way that a company would do this. But if you don't know that she's a vampire at the beginning, you won't find out until about 40 minutes into the film.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, what would you have done if you had marketed this differently and you just go to this movie and the first people there are the first ones to find out, holy shit, she's a vampire? But instead, we were marketed a film about a vampire ballerina killing all these people.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really happen until, 40 minutes into the film when she
no.
decides to kind of reveal this to them and starts
weird.
killing them and playing with her food and all this stuff. So it's almost like From Dusk Till Dawn, that switch becomes so huge. But prior to that, you think you're watching a heist movie.
Okay.
So
Man, yeah, a cool way they could have done that trailer instead would have been to start off with the kidnapping or whatever, these thieves, whatever, and then just not show the big bad that's chasing them around, and just have them do reaction shots of there's something in this house,
Yeah.
but not mention what that thing is.
Yeah.
That could have been a good way to do it, but no, they gave it away immediately in the trailer. I just thought it was going to happen in the first 10 minutes.
no, and it would have been a dead giveaway. This is based on the old Universal film Dracula's Daughter.
Oh,
It would have been a dead giveaway to use that original title.
sure.
So why hide it as Abigail and then have a poster of her as a vampire and all this stuff? It was
Oh,
just like
man.
this was clearly meant to be a surprise reveal
Yeah.
that they just gave away.
Somebody on the
immediately.
marketing team was like, no, this is the selling point. This is what's going to get butts in seats.
Well, and it should have. It is a very well-made movie. It's very gory. It's got a lot of fun in it, a lot of humor in it, but there was just something missing.
Is it a Blumhouse film?
I don't know if it is or not. It
Just the
felt a
Abigail
little.
name was kind of like, That sounds familiar.
It felt a little too good to be a Blumhouse movie.
That's fair.
Nice.
Abigail, yeah.
Abigail. Okay. Well, I will maybe not check that out as soon as I would have otherwise. A show that I ended up watching, uh, Three Body Problem. Did either of you guys check this out?
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay. Oh my God, this show is so good. It's just so good. It's based off of a novel series, science fiction, where the concept is that oh my God, brain work. What is this show about? Uh, oh my God.
Video game?
Oh yeah, I might have talked about this a little bit before, but where these scientists are being kind of killed off slash committing suicide slash disappearing, and that science no longer makes sense. And the show just it kind of starts off setting up some mysteries, and then as it continues, it just raises the stakes over and over and over again. And every time you think there's a little twist of like, oh, okay, it's going to be okay because of blank, blank ends up not being okay. And you're like, oh my God, now what? Okay. So you really do get left at the end wanting so much more. And I'm really excited they did get picked up for at least one more, if not 2 more seasons.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
it is constructed for anybody who's reading the books or read the books, it's constructed a bit differently than them. So there are plenty of surprises in it.
What is this on?
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Netflix, yeah. This is the one, though, where they've all got the bespoke, I can't remember if it's a headset or something that brings them into the
Right,
world.
the VR, they don't all, only a couple of them have this headset, and it's very strange. Like you put it on, there's no wires, there's nothing. It just looks like a big metal piece.
Yeah.
You put it on and then you're immersed into this completely realistic VR world where there's something called the 3 body problem, and you're trying to figure out like how to fix what's going on. And you're presented with scenario after scenario after scenario, and eventually it kind of unlocks a greater piece of the story of what's happening on Earth at that time. But all these people are like, where did this come from? That we do not have this tech
Right.
here. We do, and these things are showing up on people's doorsteps with their names engraved on it. And
Right.
if it's not your headset or meant for you, it won't work. It'll just kill you immediately.
Oh, jeez.
So
In the
I
in the
mean,
VR world.
in the VR world,
Oh,
and then but you do feel something horrible, and then you wake up and you're like, I just was murdered
Oops.
by the host AI in it. Is just like, I'm sorry, you do not get to be here. So it just yeah, it's interesting in the way that it presents the story and unfolds the story, which I think could have really failed. It's a difficult story to tell, so I'm pretty stoked about how they approached it.
Wow.
So
Sounds pretty cool.
I got to get back to it.
definitely check it out. Definitely finish it up.
All right. For my second one from Crypticon Seattle, we've got Mysterious Ways. Did you watch this one with the
No.
director Tyler Eaton? It's a horror comedy about 2 sibling youth pastors.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I did.
Another religious kind of one here, who decide that one of their people, their friends, is moving away from God, and they want to pull him back because she's like dancing and doing evil shit like that. So they concoct a demonic ceremony where they accidentally do it correctly and summon a demonic spirit to rampage on Halloween night as giant satanic force that is trying to end the world.
Oh,
So these scales escalate quite high, and it is pretty funny. Well, I mean, okay, never mind. Did you find it?
I found it pretty funny. I mean, I don't have a great, as we know, I don't have a great sense of humor, but I still think that it was quirky
Yes.
in a very endearing way. I think that they did a good job with their character. I mean, the characters are so fun, like the
Yeah.
way they're written and the kind of way they approach things. There were moments where I found the lead girl kind of irritating.
I think that's sort of her character, though. I
Yeah.
think that was intentional. But yeah, she is, and she's a little misguided at times and very naive. but fairly well acted and directed. It is definitely shows its budget a little more than Winter Island does, but I think it's definitely going to get picked up and be available. So I would definitely watch for Mysterious Ways as well, because it's the rare horror comedy that is funny.
It's just, yeah, it's really clever. It's
Yeah.
just a really clever film. There were definitely constant little fun surprises in it.
Mhm.
So.
Was this a local film also?
No, this was I think this is LA based. I'm not sure.
Okay. Mysterious Ways. I will look for it. Okay. Well, why don't we take a little break then? And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is here!
Introducing the Jesus Christ action figure with walk-on-water action!
I'm Jesus, King of the Jews! You're not the King of the Jews! Watch out, Jesus, it's a trap! Crucify him! Ugh! 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 Jesus Christ! Take that!
The Jesus Christ action figure playset. Collect all 3. Redeem UPCs from specially marked packages and win the Spear of Destiny,
I'm invincible!
the Holy Grail,
I'm gonna live forever!
and the Ark of the Covenant. The Jesus Christ action figure playset. Go ahead, throw the first stone.
Hello?
Let's see who's called the Strange Eons radio hotline.
Hey, Eric. Congratulations on the connoisseur. And by the way, this is Mike DeBrazzo. Anyhow, it sounds like it was a success. People loved it. Can't wait to see it. But also, one thing I really wanted to point out with this call was after hearing about the photo shoot, the infamous photo shoot with Kelly Young, I was wondering if Vanessa wouldn't mind switching seats with him for this show, the next show, and just maybe Kelly can get center stage. We can get some, some Magnum, some Blue Steel, the Tigre, seduce the camera, all that type of shit. Anyhow, that's what I got to say. Talk to you later.
If you'd like to call the Strange Eons radio hotline, dial 253-237-4266.
Nobody hangs up on me.
And we're back. Vanessa, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Carlos thinks that I hate you, so this will all feed into that anyway.
Oh, no.
But a little peek behind the curtain, we're recording 2 on a week where we only had 1 week to watch 2 movies.
Yes.
And you do this thing that infuriates me. You pick a subgenre that is so fucking specific that gives us a limited amount of films to choose from. And my ask would be, I know you did this because you want to talk about this certain film.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could have found something a little more generic inside that film to make it about and still spoke about that film, but given us a chance to also find a movie.
Oh, it's all you, man.
I was going to say, well, I did kind of open it up bigger, and maybe you missed that part of our text chain.
I just went right into Redline Fury. So
You saw the first words and you were like, why would you do this to me? It's true. I do come up with things that are sometimes freakishly specific, and I do apologize. But then other times I'll do something like snow.
yeah.
And then you're like, oh, wow. Just any film with snow.
Does it have to have
First
snow
of all,
in
it was fog that I
Yeah, I
got
know.
upset about.
That's
But
true. That's true.
my point is this: on a week where we only have 1 week to watch 2 movies, I love something about snow.
God. Okay, well, next time when we only have 1 week, I will try to go for the largest possible
Right, just
umbrella.
a generic. How about you guys? We do a scary movie this week.
Oh
Be
my
like, fuck, thank God.
That
I
is
can
generic.
pick anything I've already seen a million times, no
Exactly.
problem.
All right, so what is our subgenre this week?
So our subgenre is most specifically Jesus, but on a larger scale, I opened it up to say, any deity would be great. So I did this because I'm very interested in talking about a film that I was shown a trailer for called Black Easter.
Target acquired. Rally on me.
Institute of Matter Transfer Sciences attempt to complete the first matter transfer machine.
It won't be long before we can transfer supplies, bombs, and more. We can strike any GPS coordinate.
Step away from the computer!
Step away! In my wildest expectations, I would have never figured that you would create time travel. My mind is racing with the possibilities.
Transferring matter was bad enough. But time travel in your hands.
Save Jesus.
If Jesus is God, I think he can take care of himself.
Sure. Are you okay?
We have a problem.
Jesus is God. He can't be killed by men.
That's not factually correct. He was actually killed by men. If you really are the Son of God, you can stop these bullets. You just killed off every Christian that ever existed.
From 2021, kind of. It's also known as Assassin 33 AD from 2020. It was re-released / recut as Black Easter in 2021. Kind of the director's cut sometimes, but anyway. Rotten Tomatoes score for Black Easter is 64% from critics and 35% from audiences. Both of those numbers are egregiously too high. However, under the title of Assassin 33 AD, it has 65% from critics and 100% from audience.
That is weird.
Uh-huh. Because it is definitely a Jesus film where they got people who are in church to go.
It's
and
sort of like the God is Not Dead movies.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. It's very strange. I'll get into it. But I will say most accurately, IMDb gave it 1.5 stars, and I'd say that is much closer to the mark. So thank you, IMDb, for that. The budget is, I have no idea. I could not find anything for the life of me. It has no Wikipedia page for either of those film titles, which is strange. Director, writer, Jim Carroll. He has 3 film credits to his name. This film, twice. And Evil Behind You from 2006. It's starring Morgan Roberts as Ram the Genius, 35 credits. Stuff I've never heard of, including The Weed Show, Love Letters to Mary Jane, Zombies and Assholes, and Alien Theory. Donnie Boaz as Brant, who has lost his faith in God. He has 128 credits, including 112 episodes of Young and the Restless as Chance. And a ton of B, C, D tier movies, TV movies, etc. Jason Castro as Jesus. He has 3 credits to his name. Guess which 2 are the same movie?
Jeez.
And Gerardo Davila as Rashad the Billionaire. He has 84 credits, and he's in much bigger movies like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Suicide Squad, The Purge, but all in very, very tiny roles. So the story is we start the movie with a ton of awards and laurels about like how great it is and how
screener or something.
Yeah, I know it's not a festival screener. It's just boasting. It's like and it's big festivals too, and it's like mostly screenplay awards. And I'm like, okay, and then it brings the title up, but it has the gold laurels around it, and I'm like, that's some balls. All right. And then we start with a VO of a dorky sounding young man named Ram who says he's incredibly intelligent. In fact, he is smarter than Einstein. And he has invented time travel, but it is too complex for us to understand because we are only in one of the set branches and we can't see it the way he can from above. So he's going to tell us his story, starting with how he's at community college. And he's hitting on a girl who's also, quote unquote, very smart after telling her he graduated from MIT. I don't know why he's here. I mean, I think they're meant to be at a cool, good, smart college, but it's clearly looks like a community college setting. He then wows her somehow with his boasting about himself, and she basically asks him out in the most unrealistic, undeserved asking out scene that I've ever seen on a film. Next, we see him and other scientists sometime later working on a matter transport machine. his quote unquote best friend, a young black guy who refuses to take any of their science seriously and messes with the experiment pretty badly. Probably could have killed everyone, but it's okay because he's funny and zany. And another smart guy who is definitely ripped off of a show called Atypical about an intelligent autistic boy obsessed with penguins. I know this because I've seen this show, and this guy looks exactly like him, and he carries around a stuffed penguin for no reason. And he's smart and doesn't get it. And I was like, this is fucking rough. Anyways, a billionaire has funded their research. And in an experiment, they accidentally blow up his lab. They expect the guy to come in, fire them all, whatever. Instead, he comes in and congratulates them because for a split second, matter was transported from one pad to the next. And he gives them a better lab and more money down the hall, apparently, and tells them to just keep going. It's just there, ready to go. Like, they just walk down the hall and they're like, here's your new lab. And it's like,
perfect.
Okay, why is this lab here? Right? So his girlfriend is there with him as part of the team, and when they're making out in the lab one time, they accidentally intercept a signal where they find out that the donor is talking to a well-known terrorist about this machine that they're inventing and how they're going to use it to transport weaponry. Ram apparently doesn't care because he keeps doing the science. He successfully crafts the matter transporter and then realizes he has also crafted time travel. He tries to hide this from the billionaire, but he figures it out and immediately sends a bunch of soldiers back in time to kill Jesus, to stop all Christians from existing and or prove that Jesus was never resurrected and he's a big old liar. So, yes, now a lot of time travel hijinks ensue, mostly involving going back to Jesus's time over and over again, and Ram having to learn how to forgive the man that kills his girlfriend in one of them. And also that man needing to learn to forgive God who killed his wife and daughters. And then like 4 different endings. One of which in which the guy who learns to forgive God then decides he's now paraplegic and he can't get a job and now he's mad at God again. So this movie, it is a giant fucking mess. The VO kind of helps sort of sometimes explain what's going on, but it also massively hurts it because you're like, this guy is not charismatic. And he's like, hey guys, let me tell you about the story of how we got here. And you're like, fucking shut up. There's also 2 moments, not 1, but 2 moments where the billionaire is a Muslim and he says, they stop the movie and they go, now let's be clear, not all Muslims. This is an extremist group. And you're like, brava.
Wow.
Way to say we're not racist, nor should you hate Muslims after watching this movie. There are many line fumbles throughout this film, but they kept those takes in. I do not know why. I think parts of it are filmed in one of the mega churches because there are weird looking rooms and weird looking places out here. One of the main weapons that the bad guys use are these teeny tiny little tasers, which are hilarious. Every time they're like, get down. And they're like, ugh.
Garage door opens next door.
It's so good. Lots of shooting people in the face, including Jesus.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh my.
Characters end up becoming main people in the resurrection story, including the angels who tell Mary Magdalene and another woman, I think it's meant to be Mary, Jesus' mother, but anyways, that Jesus is risen. Also, the man who helps Jesus carry the cross is the fun black guy, Simon. The 2 guys sacrificed with him on the crosses next to him are actually 2 of the soldiers who had been sent back in time because they tried to blend in, but then immediately stole and then killed some people. Anyways, ends with the billionaire stealing Jesus's blood and resurrecting him on a timeline where he then creates the Antichrist, thus opening the option for a sequel. Incredible. It's not a secret Jesus movie. Like, they do just kind of upfront make you know it's going to be a bunch of scientists who don't understand God but will eventually learn to love him. Like, you kind of get that. But it is so bad. It is so fucking bad. It is kind of great because it is so bad. Little trivia, the movie starts by listing several awards, none of which can be confirmed. The director clarified that the movie allegedly won all those awards under a different title, Resurrection Time Conspiracy, which also cannot be confirmed. This is re-edited from the other version, which was released in 2020. Dove.org, the faith and family-focused reviews for today's media, approves this for all ages, even though Jesus is shot in the face.
No way to treat a Messiah.
That's what I thought. I found a couple of good IMDb reviews. Svalani177 says, the movie starts with a lot of prizes it claims to have won during the opening credits. If a movie needs a proof that it is a good to start with that, prices it won before the movie came out, it never can be good. And indeed, after a few minutes, the bad acting, storyline, special effect, etc., make this one the worst movies I ever seen. Self-proclaimed price winner, 3 out of 10. That was the most popular review.
Hope that is English for a second language.
No kidding.
I can only assume. And just one more review from Mikanemo87795 says, not well scripted and the effects were not great. I would save your money and go for a walk outside. 2 out of 10.
Question.
Yes.
You wanted to see this movie. Why?
The trailer is just incredible.
Oh.
It's like the girlfriend who's religious yelling at him at one point, save Jesus. And then seeing one of the soldiers walk up to Jesus and say, if you truly are the Son of God, you can stop these bullets. And then just unloading on Jesus. And you're just like, I have to see this movie. I have to see this movie.
Okay.
Wow.
Sure.
You know, there are some times that you cannot miss the opportunity to see something that has so greatly missed the mark of maybe its intention. Anyway, I would love to know what you guys pick.
I can't wait to never watch that. I'm putting 10 minutes on the buzzer, and I am talking about the 2001 classic, Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter.
In the new millennium, vampires no longer fear the sun. Now they're going to learn. It's time to fear the Son of God! When the living dead outnumber the living, even the Messiah needs a little help. Phil Caracas is Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
Excellent.
Nice.
Budget of about $100,000 Canadian. Box office, I couldn't find. Rotten Tomatoes critics give this 80%.
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes audience gives it 59%. If there was $100,000 spent on this, I would be surprised. Very, very surprised.
Oh,
Eric,
man.
our film cost,
30 some, 38.
I think it was
something like that.
27.
Well, with post, it went up a little bit, yeah, but shooting budget.
This does not look as good as our film by any stretch.
Oh.
So, and it was shot, just a couple years beforehand. All right. Directed by Lee DeMarber, who has 13 credits, including The Dead Sleep Easy, Summer's Moon, and Enter the Dragon.
Oh my God.
Written by Ian Driscoll, who has 9 credits, including The Dead Sleep Easy, Smash Cut, and The Path of Totality, and starring Phil Caracas, who has 12 credits, including Reawakening, Hot Knives, and Enter the Dragon. Muriel Varhelyi, who has 2 credits, this and Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace.
Oh, shit.
And Maria Melton, who has 1 credit. This is her only credit. It also stars Tim Jeffries, Ian Driscoll, Josh Grace, and Tracy Lance. Okay, guys, right off the bat. This film starts, and I was like, this is a very, very low-budget film. A woman has parked a car in a parking garage and is getting out of it. This is in the middle of the day, mind you, And she is then attacked by a female vampire who bites her in the neck, although we don't see any kind of penetration, and then licks the blood off of her face, leaving the woman dead next to her car, all in the middle of the day.
Oh, well.
We then meet a Catholic priest coming out of a church, traditionally dressed in the black suit with the white collar, and he approaches a young punk who's reading a newspaper. And the punk is stereotypical 1980s Return of the Living Dead punk, spiked pink hair, spiked collar and cuffs, denim vest, military boots, all of that stuff. But as the priest gets closer, we realize that this punk's spiked collar also has the little white priest's collar in it.
Oh.
And he is also a Catholic priest.
Oh.
The paper he is reading has a headline of how lesbians are being murdered in Ottawa, BC. So the two priests talk about how it is clearly the work of vampires who are killing all these lesbians.
Clearly.
And somehow using them to be able to walk about in the daylight.
Huh.
And there is only one person who can fight off the vampires. That man's name is Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there you go.
So these two priests head to the beach where they find Jesus baptizing somebody in the lake.
Wait.
And this is a very typical white Jesus. Long hair, robes, sandals, etc. I would have loved to have seen a black Jesus or even a brown Jesus. Somebody who looks like they might have been wandering the shores of the Mediterranean Sea 2,000 years ago. But
Same.
no.
No, definitely not.
Same.
They tell Jesus about the problem with the vampires, and he agrees to help. But just then, they are attacked by 3 vampires. The 2 priests are killed, but Jesus is able to kill 2 of the vampires by blessing the entire lake and throwing them in.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty good, actually.
So basically an entire lake of holy water. Jesus then goes to get a haircut, complete with sideburns and an earring, and then launches into his first musical number. Oh, did I not mention this is also a musical?
Wow.
I suppose it is, but there are really only 2 musical numbers in it, and I will just say that they are not very good.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
There is a great scene where a group of atheists commanded by the vampires attack Jesus. It's pretty funny because it's all mostly kung fu action in a public park, so you can see people on the sidelines watching Jesus fight off all these atheists. And he gets attacked by 5 or 6 people at a time, which is funny because they have parked a car, and then we see 5 or 6 people come out of it. And then after he beats them all up, we see 5 or 6 more come out of it until there's like 30 atheists.
Wow.
And he ends up fighting them all and defeating them all. And he basically has to walk through this maze of unconscious or dead bodies to get out of the park, which was kind of funny. From here, he meets Mary Magnum, a sexy chick in a shimmery red jumpsuit who has come to help him fight off the vampires. And together, they infiltrate the hospital where the dead bodies of the lesbians are being kept and discover that mad scientist Dr. Pretorius is performing skin transplants to make the vampires immune to sunlight.
What the fuck?
Huh. That's a lot of work.
I'm not sure how that works, but they do mention that the reason they are targeting lesbians is because nobody will miss them. So there's a bit of social commentary going on here.
Wow.
Jesus, come
on. During a rooftop battle, Jesus and Mary are defeated, and Jesus barely escapes with his life, but Mary is bitten and becomes a vampire.
Oh, no.
At his lowest point, Jesus then talks to God in a bowl of strawberry shortcake, and God sends Mexican wrestler El Santo to help Jesus.
Oh, my.
You are selling the hell out of this movie.
At a nightclub, they end up slaying dozens of vampires shortly after Jesus' second musical number, by the way. But El Santo and his assistant are captured. Now Jesus must head to a huge junkyard for the final conflict.
Wow. Wow.
Will Jesus be able to make it in time and save his friend El Santo? Will he find out that the original priest who set out to help him is also a vampire and was double-crossing him the entire time?
Oh, no.
And will the love light of Jesus finally take out the group of vampires surrounding him and cure Mary's vampirism and cure the vampire woman Mary has fallen in love with? And then as they start making out, will Jesus kind of give them a creeped out look and then walk slowly away? This movie is not very good. It is shot with available light. It looks like everything was done in one take. The music is awful. The acting is awful. But it does look like they had a really good time making it.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
At first, I was like, this seems like this is going to offend a lot of people, but it's just way too silly to be any kind of real offensive. So,
yeah.
The movie is all heart. And if you are not into movies that are so bad they're good, I would not recommend that you watch this film. It is definitely no fist of Jesus.
Hey.
That being said, I had a good enough time with it. I have a little bit of trivia. The film was shot on weekends during a 2-year period.
Sure.
There's a character named Maxine Schreck, which is obviously named after Max Schreck, who played Count Orlok in Nosferatu. I like this one. This is IMDb trivia. The fight in the park with the atheist was shot in a single day.
Shocking.
You don't say? Because it looks like it was shot in one take and took all of the 6 minutes it takes up in the film. So this one surely has to be a joke. It says author Stephanie Meyer actually took inspiration from the vampire glitter attack scene, leading her to make her own vampires sparkle in the light. I'm going to guess that this was written as a joke by somebody associated with the film.
Must have been. Must have been.
Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter is available on Tubi.
That's where my film is available.
Yes. In good conscience, I cannot recommend this. So, but I appreciate you giving me the chance to find this cinematic gem.
You're welcome.
I'm turning my buzzer off.
I feel sarcasm in the air. Dun, 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 dun.
And Eric, I'm giving you 10 minutes.
I am going to take a portion of those 10 minutes and talk briefly about the movie you mentioned at the end. There's a wonderful, fantastic, insanely violent, ridiculously fun short film called Fists of Jesus. And you can actually find that at fistofjesus.com, where you can purchase a Blu-ray, a 10-year anniversary edition, plus a whole bunch of other shit. Well worth watching.
Absolutely.
Okay, so for the less fun stuff here.
Is that a short or a feature?
It is
11 minutes.
Short, unfortunately. I think they were trying to make it into a feature. We're taking up your time, Eric.
Oh, I don't care. No, they tried to make it into a feature, but the Kickstarter failed and just weren't able to recover.
Gotcha.
But it's brilliant. You'll love what he does with the fishes.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to be talking about a less fun film called The Sacrament.
Here we are. Welcome to Eden Parish.
You guys built all this?
Father had a vision, and we built heaven here.
You guys ready? Watch it. We've been to some of the most chaotic, war-torn places in the world, but never for something as bizarre as this. Who is Father?
He's the guy that started all of this.
Can we speak with him at some point?
He agreed to sit for an interview tonight at the
Well,
gathering.
I don't deserve the credit. You come down here and I'll give you a place to live. I'll give you a job. I'll give you a bed. These people are my family.
It's been pretty amazing. Everyone we've talked to seems to feel that this is everything they ever wanted, and they all credit you.
And when you write this up, just know that you're dealing with their lives.
Aren't those the guides? What are they doing with guns?
You don't know what's really going on here. This place is not what it seems.
What's happening? These people want to leave. They have their suitcases packed. I have no idea what to do.
Sam, do not get involved in this! Please take my daughter. What?
Take the camera. I want you to film this. It's important.
It's fun.
We can't let them go back to New York. No, this is the last sacrament.
How many more people can fit in this thing?
Take it. Take it. Take it.
It's a Ty West film from 2013. The ratings are 65 from critics, 47 from crowd. That seems fair. Budget was $4 million. Opening weekend, it did $581 for a total of a little over $9,000. So I don't know what kind of a release it got, but it wasn't big.
What year was this?
2013. So it's right in that what streaming might have had a theatrical failure.
Weird
kind of year. As I said, it's directed by Ty West, who might know from Pearl, The Innkeepers, X, Cabin Fever 2. So
Oh.
why did you take that one, dude? Written by Ty West, who you might know from Pearl, The Innkeepers, X, Cabin Fever 2, House of the Devil. There we go. Got one of his good ones. Joe Swanberg was a lead actor who's in You're Next, Double X, Proxy, Horrible Way to Die, and a lot of Ty West's other stuff. AJ Bowen, who's in The Guest, You're Next, A Horrible Way to Die, and The House of the Devil. And Kentucky Audley, who is in VHS, Her Smell, She Dies Tomorrow. And finally, Amy Semetz, who is in Sweet Tooth, Pet Sematary 2019, Alien Covenant, and also A Horrible Way to Die, which is actually a fairly decent film. Okay, this is a movie that is very obviously following a particular idea. The movie's framed as a Vice story. I mean, as actual Vice. It's not a, like, Vice or something like that. They use the Vice logo. They have all that stuff. 2013, Vice was a little more interesting than it has become since then. The story's about a guy whose sister was supposed to join a like an extreme get over alcohol or drug dealer, stuff like that, group in Mississippi, but somehow this group just up and disappeared and moved to an undisclosed country. Are you getting where this might be going yet? They're given flight instructions and told a helicopter will meet them to take them to the camp. I'm kind of like, how do you get on a plane and not know what your destination is? It's like, here's your redacted ticket. But so this is a found footage film, but it works well enough because it's all based around them going down there as a news team to get the story. So it doesn't really get in the way, although at the end it becomes like maybe the cameras wouldn't be catching all of this. But the three men arrive in camp and start talking to people. Some are interested, some avoid them. The interview shows a wide variety of people who seem to be very happy in the world that they've been brought into, which was started by the father.
Mhm.
The father, when he shows up, evokes very much the person this movie is obviously based on, Jim Jones.
Mhm.
He has the same kind of dark to light sunglasses that Jones wore and sort of dresses like him, although the actor is much older than Jim Jones. The man playing him, one of his biggest claims to fame was being in one of the great movie scenes ever, which the Coen Brothers film about the killer who's got the high pressured, like,
Oh, No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
that
yeah.
scene with the quarter. He played the guy behind the counter.
Oh.
And that is a fabulous scene.
Yeah.
And he is very good in this. They do the interview segment with the father is incredibly well done. The performances are really solid from all the leads involved. The guy who played the father apparently has a speech at one point that uncut ran 17 minutes long, and he did it all in one take.
Oh my God.
And that's what they used.
Whoa.
So he was quite good at what he was doing. After this interview, still seems like everybody's all happy and having a good old time. A little girl that they'd seen earlier hands them a note that says, "Please help us." And the reaction from the guys is all pretty great. It's like, oh shit. Now we actually have to do something, don't we? We could have just left feeling this was a little uncomfortable, but nope, now we got to do something. After the note arrives, the movie definitely ramps up. It gets a lot more intense. The tension is well founded and well earned. Ty West, this is probably one of my Ty West films I've enjoyed the most. He's a talented filmmaker. This one works for what it is fairly well. And then, of course, if you know Jonestown, you know how Jonestown ends, and this ends that way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the last 30 minutes of the movie. So that speech that he gives about why we have to drink and leave this world and all it's very, very hard to watch. It was very difficult to see the people drinking the stuff and moving forward and following a cult leader to the ends no matter what that end is. Um, I felt they needed a few more people to rebel against because I know a lot of the people in Jonestown did try to leave but were shot.
Mm.
And they did touch on that a little bit. But the tighter story of the brother and the sister and the scene with them is uncomfortable. I could see how you watch this and don't invest yourself in it. It just would wash over you. I got myself fully invested in this film. So this ending was just like, Jesus, I'm hating watching this. I don't like this. This is painful. Those later scenes, like I mentioned earlier, do stretch the found footage stuff because not the camera crew, but why is this extra person carrying the camera around and setting it up for this perfect shot? So it's like it looks better than a lot of found footage films. It really has a solid camera technique. The movie was shot in chronological order. It was produced by Eli Roth, Ty West, and 13 more people.
Hey.
The cabins in the village is called Eden Parish. They built all the cabins for the movie from the ground up. So they look pretty good. I mean, I almost felt, did you guys leave them there for people to use? You could have. They're pretty solid. At least the hero ones were. Gene Jones is the name of the actor that played Jim Jones. But yeah, there's where I wrote it down. Maybe best known for incredible coin flip scene in No Country for Old Men. But and Amy, Joe, and AJ were all in the film You're Next as well, and which also pretty solid film. So they're all good acting, well done, uncomfortable to watch. It's definitely based on Jonestown mass suicide in Guyana in 1978. Jim Jones was also referred to as the father by his followers. And if you're into that kind of stuff, check it out. If you're not, don't, because it is solidly a found footage newsreel movie that if you buy into will work. If you don't, I could see would just completely bore the crap out of you.
Right. Okay.
Wow. Gosh, I remember seeing a trailer for this and I'm shocked it did so poorly. That's too bad. And it came out after some of his other work, or was it one of his first things?
2013, yeah, that would have been kind of, I think maybe after Innkeepers even, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it was definitely after House of the Devil.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be a story behind that box office.
Yeah. Nothing I could find, but I'd imagine there is, especially when you've got 15 producers.
Okay. I'm not going to watch that movie.
I might.
Eric, this means that next week is your subgenre.
It is my subgenre. What shall my subgenre be?
I wonder.
What should we talk about? My brain actually just went out for a second.
Wow.
What are we talking about?
Do you want me to tell you?
No, I'll think on it for a moment. It will come to me. We're definitely talking about Peter Cushing.
Oh, wow, what a surprise.
That sounds cool. I like that idea a lot.
It's been a while since we've focused on a individual performer, and he seems like a guy worth talking about. Like there with Christopher Lee that we've done before. So
Right. Crushing on Cushing. Huh?
Ooh.
Already
Nice.
there.
Landed.
Okay, so I like that idea. Lots of good movies to pick from there. I've got a little indie called Star Wars that I'd like to introduce you guys to.
Okay.
Man, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah.
Wars and Stars. Huh.
This is the part where we say thanks to everybody who's liking and sharing posts, who's participating in the value for value model, which is, of course, the way that you help support the show. If you get some kind of value out of this, put some kind of value back. We can't tell you how much value you get out of it. You decide that for yourself.
If you get enough value that you vacuum during it, hey, cool.
Right.
But if you sit down and take notes about the movies, excellent. I do want to toss real quick, along with the films I mentioned above, the Mysterious Ways in Winter Island. If you go to CrypticonSeattle.com, there is a listing of all the movies and shorts shown with links to their, when they're available, links to their projects, and you can learn more about it from there.
Nice. Oh,
Fantastic.
that's awesome.
All right. You can also leave us a message if you like at the Strange Eons radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266. And jump on Facebook to the Strange Eons radio talk page where there are a bunch of like-minded individuals just bullshitting about film.
That's right. Post, share.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're watching and liking, and let us know when we're really way off on something we picked.
Right. All right, guys. I will see you in 7 short days.
Yeah.
And we are talking Peter Cushing. See you next Thursday.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, if you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
Yeah, I knew like every time I'd see him make an appearance, I was like, man, that guy is old and sprightly.